We are live. Hello, it is Wisdom Wednesday, November 8th, 2017. Steve Sipress here on my terrace outside my office overlooking another spectacular, beautiful Arizona sunset here with the purple mountain majesties in the background. How cool is that? And today's Rhino of the Day is right here with me on the, whatever you call it, banister, whatever, of the terrace. There's this little yellow plastic rhino, simple rhino, for a complex message today about worrying. What is up, Toby Mersinger? Great seeing you, man. Wondering what you think of this. So let me just preface it by telling, for people that follow me, you probably know that I'm connected to all kinds of people as far as the political spectrum goes, people running the gamut, from the most wackiest of wacko, far out, deranged liberals to the most wacky right-wing, hard right, deranged right-wingers. And most of the people, I'm pleased to say, are firmly in between those two extremes, but we're no fun. The fun is on the outskirts, the extremes, of course, of anything, and certainly in politics these days. So I love to hang out, and when I go onto Facebook and hit up some of the pages of these extremists, because birds of a feather flock together, so the extreme radicals on either end are usually got all their friends are chiming in on everything, and I'm like, people actually think this way, either for or against any particular side of any issue. It's amazing. I'm still amazed when people actually think these ridiculous thoughts and opinions on things. But I like to chime in with some modicum of sensibility, at which point I'm thoroughly attacked by either side for not being radically, extremely ridiculous in either direction. And I'm accused of everything on both sides, of course, because if I'm not radically extreme in either way, then I must be a whatever ridiculous person, and I've heard it all, and I get it all. So, and once in a while I put something inflammatory on my own Facebook page, and then once in a while some of these extremists come in and start calling me all these names on my own page, and then people are like, you got to block that guy. I'm like, that's no fun. This guy is tremendous fun to get him, so easy to get him all riled up. You just make a mainstream rational comment and they'll go crazy. So this happened yesterday, or the day before, I think it is now, that I went to one of these. This is a far-flung anti-Trump radical liberal, and I even forget what the whole thing was all about. Something ridiculous, of course. Hey, Mike Putnam is here. Great seeing you, man. And so Mike and Toby, I don't know if you knew each other, but we both worked in the same door-to-door sales company years apart. And Toby, maybe you heard of Mike, because he was a vice president in the advertising division. Toby and I were in clearance down in Newark, Delaware, in an office together. Our famed night marching at the truck stops. But I digress. So whatever was going back and forth and accusing me of being an idiot and whatever and this and that. And then it came, there was one comment that just, it made me just think that has to be the subject of today's video. The guy whose page it is put, well, look, we have to worry about living in this is a tough era to live in. And I'm like, a tough era? How is this a tough era? I mean, compared to what? Because compared to all of the history of all of mankind until today, it has been tougher. And it'll get easier tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. Lifespans will increase, and more medical breakthroughs will happen, and people will live longer and be healthier and have more technology, so life will be easier. I'm like, especially in America. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you're out of your mind. Like, he's like, well, it's tough because of Trump's right-wing something or whatever the heck he said. And we have to worry about that. And so not only did he say we have to worry, then he said, and because we have to live in fear of what's going to happen. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I went to trustygoogle.com and I looked up some quotes about worrying and what a complete and utter total waste of time it is. And I found just tons, never-ending stream of articles and quotes and books and everything saying the same thing of worrying. What a complete waste of time. Now, especially if you're watching this video, hopefully you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, and we don't have time for that. Okay, I got a friend of mine that said, what's the quote? I don't know who said it, but it's something like, "I ain't got no time for that," or whatever. There's some wacko quote going around social media like that. But business owners especially, okay, we opted in for a life full of risk, uncertainty, ups, downs, good times, bad times. Every day there's tons of trouble if there wasn't. And the two people I was talking to here, Toby and Mike Putnam, when we did door-to-door sales, that was our whole life. Every day we woke up saying, I need to find hundreds of people to say no to me today, so I can sell out everything I had, because somewhere in between all the negatives and the saying no and the getting thrown out and get a real job and no soliciting and getting arrested and robbed and, everything that could possibly happen, not only from the field, as we called it, with the customers, but certainly anyone we were interviewing or training, we're like, you're crazy, get out of here. Or our family, friends were like, what are you doing? You're crazy. We don't have time. I don't have time to worry. We're an entrepreneur or a business owner. We need to be taking action. So if something negative is happening and you're wasting time worrying or living in fear, that's time you could be spending solving the problem. See, it's only the cows, the 9-to-5ers, like this guy on this page, who I think he was starting to tell me about how all his friends are retired, or he's retired, or this and that. So I don't know, is that justifying? I guess they have lots of time, so they choose to spend it worrying and living in fear. I can tell you that I don't see myself ever retiring, but if I did, I'm pretty sure that, I'm going to switch hands here. My hand's getting a little tired. I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't, retire so that I could say, well, now that I can spend my time any way I want, I'm going to choose to live in fear and worry all the time. It's just a complete waste of time, folks. So here's what happened. And he also put on there something about how liberals are more intelligent than conservatives, something like that. And I put back, I guess I should have reread this before I recorded this video, but, I ain't got no time for that. So I responded with something like, but it is the height of lack of intelligence to claim that you have to worry, that you want to spend your time worrying and living in fear. See, here's the deal. And I'm like, at the same time you just claimed how intelligent you are, you displayed an immense lack of intelligence. I'm like, what irony of all ironies? What are you doing? Hey, thanks for the like. How ironic that the guy says how intelligent he is, at the same time claiming that he's in fear that Trump is going to cause, thermonuclear world global disaster and blow up North Korea and the world. And so every day he lives in this fear, and it's such a tough time to live in, and life is so tough for this guy. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I should put it on there, but I'm like, it's such a shame that the leaders of, anyone that matters doesn't believe that. All Trump's bombastic rhetoric about fire and brimstone and fury, and I'll rain down on you, and believe me, we'll be tougher than ever, and we're stronger than anybody, and we will wreck you, and you won't be pretty, and millions of people will die, and whatever. Get a hold of yourself, people. Of course, this is meant for the head of North Korea, Iran, China, Russia, somebody to actually believe this, so that they don't, keep proliferating nuclear bombs and threatening to point them at all the cities and bomb everywhere. However, they're all far too intelligent for that. They're not falling for it for a second. So Trump has to keep changing. Well, then maybe we should talk. No, talks are stupid. No, let's talk. No, you'll see we're coming. He doesn't know what to do. Just like no U.S. president has known what to do for decades. So nothing new that Trump can't solve the problem that nobody's been able to solve. And but the thing is, I'm like, what a shame that the people that are supposed to fall for this nonsense coming out of Donald Trump and actually believe it, and therefore North Korean guy is supposed to go oh crap, I really believe Trump is going to rain down bombs and nuclear bombs all over my country. I better give up all my nuclear weapons. Like, I better stop taunting the U.S. I better... That's how it's supposed to work. But instead, of course, that guy doesn't believe it for a second because, of course, it's ridiculous to believe such a thing. But this guy, these liberals who claim that they're so intelligent are going off because this guy wasn't the only one responding to my post, of course. All his far-left liberal, totally unhinged wacko liberals were like going crazy on going like, you're an idiot. This guy's a jerk. And I'm sitting there thinking like, it'd be nice once in a while just to tag some other people. Like, in fact, it would be... I think they get blocked. But if I tacked some of the far-right wacko pro-Trumpers like to come in on this thing, it would just be fun. But there I am hanging out to dry with like 20, far-flung, radical, crazy liberals claiming they're so intelligent, acting like idiots, attacking me. It's kind of fun anyway. But here's the deal. I thought right away, like, must be nice to call yourself so intelligent and then act so unintelligently, to fall for the bombastic, meaningless rhetoric of Donald Trump, and then to think like, therefore I have to live in fear? Come on, people. So business owners, entrepreneurs, I know you're not falling for that crap. I know you're so much smarter than that, whether you're conservative, liberal, anything in between. Like, we don't have time to live in fear. We don't have time to worry. We don't worry. Now, so here's the deal. I found all this stuff about how stupid and wasted time worrying is. Then I looked up worry is good. Let's find all the literature and the posters and the quotes on this. I found two actually, but one was a dead link. The article was removed from Google, doesn't exist. The web page doesn't exist anymore. There was one article, and I guess you could find it if you went to google.com also, but it was this professor of something, and it said something like she's a specialist in worrying, a clinical psychologist specialist in worrying. I'm like, okay. And she actually said, yeah, worrying is good. Like, the right amount, of course, though. I know the people, always say in moderation, of course, as if like, of course. Like, my response to anyone that ever says that, by the way, in moderation, I'm like, really? So how about sugar in your gas tank? Only in moderation? Should we only put 1 cup of sugar in the gas tank? How about rat poison? How much rat poison should I eat for dinner tonight? Only in moderation. See, everything in moderation. Right? BS, not everything in moderation, okay? No worry, okay? Not in moderation. Don't eat rat poison in moderation. Don't throw only a little amount of sugar into your gas tank. Don't throw a little bit of dynamite at your neighbor. Like, no, with this moderation BS, okay? So worrying, no. 0. None. Ridiculous. Don't do it. Now, concern, yeah, be concerned. In fact, we're business owners and entrepreneurs. We have a lot more to be concerned about than these unhinged semi-retired or 9-to-5ers or whatever they are. They can sit there and just complain all day about everything. Like, we got things to do. So, of course, we got to be concerned. We got to make plans. We got to have strategies. We got to put systems into place. We got to always be thinking ahead. And we got to be thinking about the next step and what our goals are. We're concerned about a lot of things, but worrying, no. If you find yourself falling into worry, which is really just like dreaming up things that haven't happened yet and likely won't, like, just cut it out. Best book I ever read on the subject was Dale Carnegie, famous for writing How to Win Friends and Influence People. Wrote another book. I'm sure he wrote others, but another book he wrote that I read was upon a recommendation years ago from a business associate that said, man, you ought to read this book. And he suggested the same thing to me that I've suggested to many people since then, that really, if you ever find yourself worrying, someone else is here. Ernest Jean-Jacques is here. Are you kidding me? What's up? That's what we used to say. What's up? Ernest, Mike Putnam. Now I know you guys know each other, and Toby Merster here, all from the door-to-door sales company. You must have seen the word worry and knew that, like, how stupid to sit there and waste your time worrying. And Phil Brakefield's here, and Phil says worry is like paying interest on money on a debt you don't owe. Exactly right. I mean, so Dale Carnegie says in this book, it's called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. If you just read the title alone, you're going to be better off. The suggestion to me, which I suggest to others, is read the first 2 chapters. Really, in the first 2 chapters, he tells you what's going on, and he sets forth a plan, and he tells you how to stop worrying. And I'll save it for another video. I guess I'll do a video on it. But for now, go read the book or go to a library. If you only want to read the first 2 chapters, go to a library, read the first 2 chapters, put it back on the shelf. I have my copy here somewhere, unless I gave it away to somebody. But you got to stop worrying, folks, especially if you're a business owner. Be concerned, yes. Okay, plan ahead, yes. But if you find yourself worrying or living in fear, now fear works in marketing. We talk about that a lot here. You want to inject fear into other people. Trump, the ultimate P.T. Barnum of our day, the marketer, is injecting fear into people. It's just not on the right people. Okay, he's trying to inject fear into the Kim Jong, whatever his name is, that runs Korea, and the guy that runs China, and the guy that runs Russia, Iran, wherever else there's problems going on. He's trying to inject fear into all these guys. They're not falling. They're way too intelligent. Not falling for it for 1 second. They're on to the whole thing. And of course you are too. I'm sure pretty much I thought everybody is that has any kind of a brain. But then I see these far-flung wackos going like, oh, we got to live in fear because of Trump. You never know who, how. Dude. Get a hold of yourself. We somehow survived 8 years of George Bush, didn't we? And then we miraculously survived 8 years of Barack Obama. I predict we'll survive Donald Trump. Whether it's 4 years, 8 years, who cares? This country's been here long before him. It'll be here long after. It'll be better and better all the time. And the things should be same in your little neck of the woods. In your business, in your life, you want things to always be moving forwards and becoming better, regardless of who is in whatever place of power in some other city, or even in your own city. Even if it's a competing competitor in the same business across the street, who cares what anyone else is doing? We take care of our business, and our business will take care of us. So that's Wisdom Wednesday for today. And I thought about Alfred E. Newman on the cover of Mad Magazine. I don't know if it's still around, but it was when I was a kid. What, me worry? As if he's such an idiot that he's not concerned about anything. Worry, concern, 2 different things. Be concerned about a lot of things. Don't just be idiotically, I'm not concerned about anything. But worry, and I'll leave you with this. I had someone in the health field say to me long ago, when people are in bad shape physically, and they come to him, and he was a nutritionist or something, and they said, he said, here's the deal, though. I could change your diet, and I could nutritionally instruct you, but I'm going to see if I don't mess it up. He said something about, here's the deal. Unfortunately, though, what you're eating is not nearly as important to your health as what's eating you. That's what he said. What you're eating, not nearly as important as what's eating you. So you can have the healthiest diet and sleep 8 hours a day and hang out in beautiful, spectacular weather all the time. But if you're going to walk around living in fear and being worried, yeah, you're going to be sick. So don't do that. Your customers counting on you, your employees, your family, yourself, your entire community, business owners, the backbone of America. Of course, 13% of us employ the other 87%. A lot of people are depending on us. We ain't got no time to walk around and let things get to us and bother us to the point where we live in fear and we worry. Whenever you find yourself doing that, come back and watch this video again, or just think about it. Or just think about Mad Magazine and Alfred E. Newman and go, yeah, right, I got to stop doing that. And instead, I got to get to work and solve the problems. And then I don't got to worry or live in fear about them anymore. Okay, that's it. As always, I thank everybody being in here live. I don't see any more questions, comments, concerns, feedback, and I see it is getting darker. The sun is setting. We have lots of purple mountain majesties in the sky. As usual, beautiful sunset, and the lights are coming out. John Bachman is here, and really, so it's still around today. John Bachman, who owns the finest auto repair shop in all of DeKalb County, Illinois, for I think, the last 7 or 8 years in a row, voted by the residents of the county in a contest with the local newspaper. And I would think, I haven't been to them all, but I would think he's got one of the finest auto repair shops in the world. And John says, we get Mad Magazine here at the shop. Awesome. I love it. Of course you do. Knowing John, of course you do. And not only that, I'll bet as soon as it comes in, you got to read it cover to cover. You got to go to the back page and fold it, fold that. Does it still do that? You fold the back page so you see what the thing is really about, and you Spy versus Spy, and what else was all that stuff? All right, great to hear. It's getting dark. You probably can't even see me anymore, and at this point, you probably don't want to see me anymore. So I'll be back tomorrow with Throwback Thursday. Thanks for being here, everyone, today. Phil, Ernst, Mike Putnam, Toby, John Bachman, Phil, anyone else that was here live, and anyone watching on the replay, and I'll catch you tomorrow on Throwback Thursday, although today, seeing 3 people from back when I spent the 90s in a door-to-door sales company, 3 old friends from back there, and also a client I used to work with back up in Illinois, John Bachman, has been kind of like Throwback Wednesday for me today. But I'll be back with a real Throwback Thursday tomorrow. Thanks for being here today. Bye-bye.